Here's what no one is talking about regarding the death of the United Healthcare CEO, how it is all related to race. Yes, related to race. Hear me out. There's 3 reasons why all of this is related to race. Number 1, the images that are being circulated of the gunmen. 2, the descriptions of the gunmen. And 3, the images that are not being circulated of the United Healthcare CEO. So 1, the images that are being circulated of the gunmen. When I first heard that there were images of the gunmen was through CBC radio. So CBC announced and they said, there are now images available of the gunmen. And then they proceeded to go and talk about the case and everything related to the case. Immediately, I remember I had a reaction. I was like, oh, immediately I knew that the gunman was not a black man. It was not a Latino man. It was not a Middle Eastern man. It was not a racialized man. I knew that the gunman was a white man. Whenever a crime is committed and the suspect or the perpetrator is a black, indigenous, racialized, Muslim, brown person, immediately news channels and journalists, after describing that a crime has been committed, they will describe the race of that person. When it is a white person and a white man who has committed the crime, there will be no mention of the suspect's race. I've watched CBC, CNN, I've even watched Fox News to see if there was different descriptions. Nobody is talking about the race of the gunman. Additionally, so there's 2 images. One, we have, we've all seen that image where he's pointing the gun and multiple times pointing the gun. And what is the other image? Smiling. That is the other image that we have of him, smiling. And I know what people might say, those are the only images that are available. But remember, they're using these images. These will be the images that we're going to have ingrained in our minds. None of the descriptions evoke fear, right? So when it is a black, indigenous, racialized person, the way to describe someone who has committed crime when they are not white, they're described in a way that evokes fear, right? So that it makes everyone tremble and afraid and intimidated. None of the descriptions of this killer, of this murderer, evoke fear. All the descriptions are from a lens of expertise. And also, how many of us are going along with this conversation, even in the social media threads, the comment sections, the discussions are, I don't know, I don't see him, I don't know anything about him, we don't know who he is, and jokes are being cracked. It's almost like there's a bond that has been formed where folks have said, protect him at all costs. That's essentially what's happening in the comment section. Number 2, another way it's related to race. Do you see how we're all talking about gunmen, suspect, person of interest? Nobody is describing him as a killer, murderer. I haven't heard those terms from the media, from journalists, from mainstream media. Nobody. There's terms, the terms that are being described are more sophisticated. He's an assassin. He might be an expert. So now I will say, think about it. Pause for a second. If this crime had been committed by a black man, if this crime had been committed by an indigenous man, if this crime had been committed by a Muslim man, even if the only images available were the ones smiling, what would be the descriptions? We all know how they would be described, right? And then 2, we also know the conversations that would be happening in the comment section. For sure, there wouldn't be this unified community of protecting the person. Number 3 reason how race is at play in all that's happening here. The images that are not being shared of the CEO of United Healthcare. The last images that we have of the United Healthcare CEO is just him walking. We don't see when the bullets hit him. We don't see when he's laying down on the floor bleeding. We don't see the last minutes of his life, his body lifeless. Again, this is race related. Think of the many times when there is a Black, an Indigenous, a Muslim, a brown person that's dead. The images will be plastered everywhere. So we get desensitized. So that seeing a Black body, so that seeing a Black man dead, we're just conditioned and desensitized. It's not an issue. It's not a problem. The family members of those poor victims, those poor Black folks and Indigenous folks that are murdered, can see their images everywhere. When a white man is murdered and there's videos, a white man is murdered and assassinated by another white man, we protect that man and his images are not showing. So what I'm saying, that we should see the images? Absolutely not. I hate seeing those graphic images. What I'm saying is the same way that this United Healthcare CEO is being protected and his images are not plastered all over social media, perhaps there's an opportunity to consider, do we need to have images of Black, brown, racialized folks all over social media when they are murdered, right? So these are just my introvert thoughts. I'm boiling because I've been processing this for days. My introvert thoughts. Happy to continue this conversation in the comment section. What do you think? What do you think? Share your thoughts. Okay. Bye.